Good morning. Happy Friday. I hope you're all doing very well on this very, very early Friday morning. I'm finished at the gym. I did my first workout. And I had a shirt on this morning that reminded me of when I went to a very, very dark place a couple of months ago. And I learned something so important in that darkness. So often in life we avoid the darkness. But what happens if we run to the darkness? If we're present in the darkness? For me, what I discovered is that in the darkness, I found my true fear. And I was able to confront it. And it was scary. And it got me to thinking of a conversation that I had with a friend, an acquaintance recently. And it was when they looked at me, they said, well, I thought for sure you would be overly cautious with taking precautions to protect yourself in everything that's going on. And it got me to thinking, my personal real fear has been faced. Does that mean it's over? No. What it means is I had a very dark look at my reality about 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years in December. And there is nothing quite like hearing it's cancer to make you put your life into perspective. And for me, at that moment in time, my world stopped and my perspective shifted. In many ways, I went into a very dark place and spiraled down, and I'm still dealing with the ramifications of that. And what I learned is that fear, when it grips you, it can hold you in a very, very dark place. And when you suppress it and you push it down, it really grabs you. In life, we have to realize that there are things that are out of our control. And when we give voice to those very real fears, you lessen the hold on them. And it gives you an opportunity to face it. Does that mean that it goes away? No. Does that mean that your fears and my fears are different? No. This particular person was concerned about losing their 401k. And for me, I couldn't wrap my head around it because for me, that's not my very real fear. My real fear is being diagnosed yet again. My real fear is having somebody see my scars and never being accepted. And what I realized is I don't have control over other people. I don't have control over whether or not I'll ever be diagnosed again. I can do everything I possibly can to make sure that I take care of my health. And what I did, I stopped for a moment. And I went a little deeper down that rabbit hole and into the darkness. And I realized that my greatest fear was not of other people not accepting me because of my scars. It was me not having the ability to accept myself for my scars. And that gave me an opportunity to look at it a lot differently and take a deep breath. And I realized that fear is something that you will always confront. But what it does is confronting it and acknowledging it and speaking it every little bit each time and facing it, it releases the hold that it has on you. Look at what you're facing today. There's a very real fear. Some of you are fearful of losing your jobs. Some of you are fearful of losing your houses, of your family getting sick, of something happening to your children. Take a step back and realize that you don't have control over what happens exterior. The only thing you have control over is your mind, your body, and your spirit. Focus on things that you can control. Sure up, you can't control losing your job. But what you can do is you can control whether or not you have a backup plan for that. You can't control what your kids do. But what you can do is you can love them as much as possible and you can guide them. And the rest you have to trust to somebody else and trust to them to make the right decisions. You can't control whether or not you lose your house or your health. But what you can do is you can shore it up and make sure that you do as much as you possibly can to build the foundation. Address those fears. Fear is in the darkness. And sometimes you have to run to the darkness. And you must be present in the darkness to find out what you're facing. Catch your breath. And let go. And be mindful, because the darkness is a very easy place to get stuck in. Take a deep breath, focus on today, and tackle only what you can. and leave the rest up to God. You guys have a most amazing Friday. Make it badass.